Hi everybody, welcome back to Birdwatching. I'm AJ Mazzolini of the Missoulian newspaper. We're about a month of the way through the Pioneer League baseball season, which means there's only 2 weeks left in the first half. And if you remember, the winner of the first and second halves of the season get an automatic spot into the playoffs at the end of the year and a chance for that Pioneer League championship at the end of the season. Last week was not a good week for the Osprey, and they're going to need to do some serious work here in the next 10 to 14 days if they want a shot at that first half championship and the playoff spot. After starting last week with 2 consecutive wins, the Osprey then reeled off 4 losses in a row for their longest losing streak of the season, which drops them down to 11-14 on the year, right after they had moved above 500 for the first time since opening day. Helena is leading the Northern Division with a 14-11 record, so still well within striking distance are the Osprey there. We'll begin at the beginning of that week, this past week that is, on Wednesday when the Osprey were hosting the Ogden Raptors. This was the middle game of, or one of the middle games of a 4-game series with the Raptors, and Missoula won that one 6-1, and pitcher Carlos Hernandez picked up his first victory of the season. He threw 5+ innings it was, and struck out 5 batters, only allowed the 1 run in his best performance of the year. The next night, Missoula won their second game in a row there to sort of cap a pretty nice little streak that had pulled them from well below 500 to above 500. And on that game, that thing went to 10 innings, again with Ogden, before Colin Bray drew a bases-loaded walk, so sort of a walk-off walk, if you will, that gave Missoula the victory there. That was their second extra innings game of the season, and both of those have been victories. But things sort of went downhill after that. In the series finale with Ogden, Missoula failed to score a run and took its worst loss of the season in a 10-0 loss to Ogden there. But that was just the beginning of a nasty dry spell for Missoula. The Idaho Falls Chuckers came to town and swept a 3-game series, and Idaho Falls had been the last place team in the Southern Division before they came in and really took it to Missoula. The Osprey only managed to score 5 runs in the course of that losing streak there, while they were getting outscored by 27, I guess that would be. So the opposition scoring 32 runs, or 8 runs per game, while Missoula can only score 5. So that's definitely not good, and they're going to have to pick that offense back up and get it where it needs to be. Missoula got a much-needed off day, yesterday being Tuesday, right after that nasty little stretch. They're going to definitely need a little bit of rest because now they're going on the road for a week after being home here for a week. So they're headed down to Ogden to return the favor for the Raptors coming here for 3 games there and then 4 games over in Idaho Falls this week. So they're going to be out of town all the way until the beginning of next week. And they're going to be, so there won't be any action here at Auburn Allegiance Park until middle of next week, right around the time we'll be putting out our Week 5 video for bird watching, that is. A little more positives, though, from this week before we wrap things up here. Don't want to end on a sour note of all those losses. Shortstop Joe Munoz, who was a second-round pick for the Arizona Diamondbacks last season, he sort of picked things up after a really slow start. His average is up to 226 for the year, which still isn't stellar, but considering where it came from, he's definitely doing better. He was batting only about 160, I believe it was, around this time a week ago, even. And so he had a real hot week and has jumped that average up, more than 60 points, which is certainly a good sign for both Joe and the Osprey as a whole. Tune in next week where we'll be talking a little bit more about the Osprey and how they did on that road trip. And check the Missoulian newspaper every Thursday for our weekly feature to tie in here with bird watching. This week's feature is on pitcher Felipe Perez, who started this year really hot right out of the gate, had a couple really nice pitching performances. He's a former UCLA commit who decided to go the pro route instead and walked away from a college scholarship down there in California. So take a look at that, and we'll meet you right back here on the web for next week of bird watching. Thanks for tuning in.